So, yeah, I got a few issues with these websites. They suck, and I'm really pissed off at them. Pissed off at the fact that these guys have done so much damage to different people, and yet they get away with it. I'm pissed off at the bank for allowing these kind of hacks to to hack into people's accounts when you ask for, when I had TCF, there was a thing called there was a thing called uh, overdraft protection, and that wasn't a weird thing. It was just you can't go past zero. When you go to put zero, that's it. It ends. But these dumb bastards ended up giving $131 out of my account that was set to zero. So it's like, wait a minute. So when I try to buy something and I don't have any money on the account, it won't let me buy that product. But someone can hack in and purchase all these stupid gift cards. I mean, granted, I do see a couple things that I did, that are my problems and my bills. Yeah, I understand that. But if if Chase Bank thinks I'm just gonna pay for some jerk off to rip me off, that's not happening. So, like I said, had such a beautiful weekend with my kids, so great. And then today, I mean, from the phone going, bam, disconnected. Can't text, can't call, can't do shit. Verizon Wireless has now bought SafeLink, so my other phone won't work because I need a new SIM card. Now I need a Verizon SIM card, and I'm worried that if I order said SIM card, oh hey guys, I noticed there's some more people in here. Come on, join the chat. Have you ever been ripped off by a bank before? Have you ever heard of signing up for overdraft protection and for some reason they still manage to rip you off? That's exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, I'm gonna have to go into these different places like Boost Mobile and Chase and just tell them I'm not paying you guys to do nothing, and it seems like that's what's going on. And the fact that these banks allow this shit to happen shows that wonderful quote from Robert De Niro saying, you're either too stupid to know that you're getting ripped off or you're in on it. So I totally agree with that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chase were to be looking the other way because, hey, that's just more money. And there's an old saying that says never let a good tragedy go to waste, which is probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard. But it's said all the time, mainly by politicians. Um, when Chicago was at like its highest murder rate, I remember Rahm Emanuel saying, "Let's never let a tragedy go to waste." And it's like, at least rephrase the way you're gonna say that because it's just downright disgusting. And that's really what they did with. Oh, bye bye. That's what they did with 9/11. Sorry, it's true. It's a fact. No building falls into its own footprint. So, um, getting really sick of this. I don't know, this free for all capitalism, this obsessed society that's just grown so crazy over the last few years. We saw it coming though. I mean, if you were a kid in the '90s, you saw this shit coming. I mean, this wasn't. You can't say you were blindsided by any of this. We saw this shit coming. We knew it was gonna happen. I remember looking at cigarettes at $3 a pack and thinking, wait till it's five a pack. I never thought we'd go over $10 for a single pack of cigarettes, but it's gotten to that point. And paying, um, $130 for a carton of cigarettes. I mean, you're telling me that you can boost the price of cigarettes, which it is, you know, scientifically proven. That they've crunched these numbers, and they notice that things like lottery tickets and cigarettes are usually bought by the lower class people. And hey, I was born middle class, and then I was poor, and then I was middle class again, and then I was poor again, and then I was, so I've lived both sides of that aisle. I've been around where, I could almost have whatever I wanted, but, I never asked for anything. Didn't want it. Didn't see a point in it. But nowadays, you got, you know, uh, the laziest people in the world getting paid by the government. And so I can see why the right gets upset about it. It does make sense to be upset. I can totally see why this does occur. Why the right is so obsessed with this and so angry about this. I can definitely see it. I don't think that that kind of anger is, directed. I think that anger is well directed, but it gets to a point where, it's okay to be angry, but eventually we gotta snap. I mean, come on. Eventually we have to snap and revolt, because this society is falling to a place where it's exactly what they wanted, you know. We know that Russell Brand was talking about the new chips and the hand chip has been around for a while now. It's not like the hand chip is new. It's been a product for quite some time, and it's going to be inevitable where people are going to have these weird chips in their hands. We have Army and Navy and military where our newcomers are too weak to even finish boot camp. We're not a very strong superpower anymore. And like I said, if you grew up in the 90s, you saw this shit coming. You saw it. I mean, simply by what they were taking away from us. They took away, our firecrackers. They took away fireworks. They took away, candy cigarettes. They took away the candy cigars. They took away whatever they could to basically tell you what is right and what is wrong. Now, of course, there's always going to be right and wrong. But if you are too stupid to find that line and to see the difference, then I really don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to you. I agree with angry Bill Burr when he talks about, about 60% of you gotta go. It's true. That's true. It's just George Carlin had been talking about this since he let himself be himself. If you watched his earlier routines in the 60s, he was very clean. And then as time went on, he started really literally letting his hair down. And then he became the greatest comic who ever lived because he made you think. And I think today, the only person that we have that is like that is Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. You know, there's a few comics out there that can still do that, and you know, as a kid, I grew up just very opinionated, and I never saw a reason not to be. You know, I grew up listening to uh, listening to music that told me to be myself and not to conform. I watched media, you know, films, TV shows that were always about the underdog or the misfit, and that connected with me. And the sad thing is that we're no longer the minority. We are the majority. So why are we allowing this? You know, the Electoral College, for one thing, is a joke. The Federal Reserve is a joke. So what we need to do is revolt. That's the only way we're gonna get our rights back. The fact that Roe v. Wade got turned over, how did you not see that coming? You know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was not going to live forever, and Trump was throwing in as many Republicans as he could into that Supreme Court, and the fact that they wouldn't let Obama pick one, which would have honestly been the new Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you know, had he gotten his guy in, I think that guy would have been a lot more. Um, he would have evened out that score, because instead we got moron Brett Kavanaugh, um, who is just a rapist and a moron. And yeah, I said that. If you want to kick me off for saying that, then you're pathetic, because that's exactly what they are. You know, the guy was accused of rape, and you're telling me nowadays I can't even say the word. Are you joking me? Now, so now you're taking away speech. So it started with the firecrackers, you know. It started with the firecrackers, and then, you know, the bad days just continued. So when I tell you everyone's due for that bad day, that's not just me. That's the world itself. It's all waiting for that one bad day. And that's really all it takes for someone to snap, is just one bad day. We're all one bad day away from doing something that we don't think we're even capable of doing. But truth is, it just takes that one bad day. And I really wish that we kind of all hit that day at the same time. So that way we can just turn around, look at each other, and say, this shit has got to go. We need to fix this. You know, taking away freedom of speech, that's garbage. Telling people that they can't use words that explain what people are. I mean, you have to say chomo, because if you say the word pedophile, you get taken off the TV because people don't want to hear it. Well, guess what? Look, I just lost a viewer right now just because I said it. Well, guess what? You have people in the Capitol that are pedophiles, that want to make people like NAMBLA a certified organization. And you have people running on platforms where they believe children are objects, and they have a term for it that is so disgusting that I won't even say it, and I'll say anything, but it's not to shock you, it's to wake you. It's I guess maybe it is to shock you. Maybe that's what you need, because when we were going into the late '90s, everything became shock. Everything was shock. We had trash TV, you had Jerry Springer, you had You had metal, you had heavy metal, you had rap, you had every kind of music genre saying, you know, this system does not work. And the fact that we all just put up with it, you know. There is a thing called the Venus Project that I believe in very much. And I really hope that, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think we're ever going to get there. I mean, when you want to redesign the world to run back on fossil fuels that we don't need, and then you have these geniuses that literally make cars that can run on water. And what happened to that guy? That guy that made a car that ran on water. Not saying that it drives on water. I'm saying that you fill it up with water. And that man put in his patent so he can get it. And then eventually people would be able to drive these things. And GM decided to make a similar patent, which was basically a complete ripoff of his patent. And it was taken away from this guy. I can't remember his name. But there are so many things that are just wrong with this society that I just wish that we can just get on board with saying it, because there's no way you can solve a problem without admitting that there is one. And you can't stand for something if you can't even say it. You know, if you're standing against something, if you don't believe in something and you think something is wrong, you should be able to say what that thing is. You know, you're using real words and turning them into curse words. You know, realism is becoming is becoming stigmatized, and we're all living this fake fantasy bullshit that's just not happening. You know, it's not happening, and this day in government will never let it happen. They gotta go. You know, you got Clarence Thomas, the guy that put his pubic hair on a woman's Coca-Cola in what was it, the early 90s, late 80s. He's on the Supreme Court. You know, when you have these kind of monsters deciding your laws, resistance is no longer a valid option. I think that resistance becomes your duty as an American, to not fall with these people. Because I mean, the idea that Clarence Thomas is on the Supreme Court is disgusting, because of what he's done to women throughout his career. He was on the news all the time doing something disgusting towards his female coworkers. And now he decides our laws, and he was one of them that voted against Roe v. Wade. And you know, the fact that he has a white wife, who cares? That's not the point. That's not the problem. The problem is not his white wife. The problem is that they're all agreeing on things that we didn't agree on. The fact that Roe v. Wade got twisted over shows what kind of people we are today. And again, one bad day away from all of this going into the flames. And that's what we need. We need to start over. I don't like to sound like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, but you know what? They use the word conspiracy theory to make you sound crazy. And you know what? There's nothing crazy. Conspiracies happen. Conspiring happens on a daily basis. And the fact that, you know, if you even say the word conspiracy, it was built to make it sound like a nutcase. Because, oh God, why would you want to not believe in the moon landing? Why would you not want to believe that some guy in a cave was responsible for buildings that can fall into their own footprint. I'm sorry. I just can't swallow it, you know? They force these spoonfuls of bullshit at you, and the fact that, people are opening up for it, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why? You know? There was a time where I used to believe in people, and I used to believe in strangers, thinking that we could all do something one day, and I wanted to have a radio station so I can reach people, and so I started doing this, and this was the closest I can come to it. But I also go around and I do shows because, you know what, in the late 90s we went too far. Look at Woodstock 99. Yeah, it went too far, but that was not the that was not the catalyst for what life is today. The catalyst for what is life today is things like Columbine, things like 9/11, things that were terrible towards the turn of the century, but when you really look at the minutia of it, things do not add up. And if something doesn't add up to 100%, it is not whole. It is not real. It is not there. So, yeah, that concludes our hour of STS. We thank you for joining us. For everybody that came in, we really like you guys to join in more in the chatting. I don't know if there's a problem with our chat or not, or if I'm just not being able to read them, because sometimes I get your comments much later on YouTube. And again, the show is made for and by all of us. This is not just a one man show here. This is something that we should all be working with together. And once the numbers start to add up, I can start having those guests that I want to put out. And I have a couple of people that are interested in talking, but the timing's got to be right, and the people that I want to bring on are going to talk about things you may not like to hear, but I think you should. I think everyone should. I think everyone should know what both sides of every coin looks like. And so, if I have to do this every day and all I ever get is one viewer, that's enough for me. If I get no viewers, I don't care. I'm still going to do the show. I'm still going to speak my mind. I'm still going to rage and put out my opinion, because somebody has to. And stop believing in this fake Instagram bullshit world that does not exist. Facebook is not a real place, okay? I'm right here, okay? And again, I want to really point out, as I did yesterday and the day before that, if you are having any troubles with life itself, please don't do something rash. Talk to someone. I'm always here. I don't know you, but I am always listening. And you know what? I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. You're all brothers and sisters to me. But so anytime you guys feel alone, you're not. Okay? There's someone in that hole with you. You just can't see them, that's all. Alright, so thanks a lot for joining STS. I'm sorry we had to do so much jumping back and forth, but we had a lot of technical difficulties today. Really, really, really love doing this. So, love you guys. As always, I will totally catch you on the other side. I never pointed at the right place. It's supposed to be, alright.